Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How are you guys? Are you fine? I'm Jana Ahmed Abdul Sadiq, and today's topic is polynomial functions. As we said before, the last video that it was about polynomial functions, the introduction of polynomial functions and the formula of polynomial, and also the three cases, the special cases of polynomial functions, and also we bring some examples about them. Now we are going to solve these examples in the way or like in the express of this formula, the formula of polynomial functions. So now what we have here in the first example we have x squared minus 2x to the power of 5 plus 8 over 4, right? Plus 7 over 8 x minus x cubed. So what we'll do here, first of all, which one is the degree? The degree, of course, it will be the bigger number. Now what we have here, x squared, x to the power of 5, x, and x to the power of 3. So that means 5 is the bigger number, right? So that means the degree is 5. So that means what we will do here, an is equal to 5. Where an is equal to 5 is equal to what? What is the coefficient of x to the power of 5? Of course it will be negative 2 over 4, right? So negative 2 over 4 is the coefficient of x to the power of 5. Now, as we know that the formula says an minus 1, so that means here what we have in degree, an is equal to what? 5. So that means a5 minus 1 is equal to what? a4, right? a4. Now, do we have here x to the power of 4? No. So that means we are going to say 0. We don't have x to the power of 4. Okay, now the same thing, we have a4, right? So what we'll do here, we'll continue also a4 minus 1, that means it will be a3. Now a3, do we have here x to the power of 3? Yes, we have, which is 1, negative 1, right? Negative 1 is equal to, negative 1 x to the power of 3. So that means the coefficient of x to the power of 3 is negative 1. Now, after we have a3, we'll make a3 minus 1. That means we have a the power of what? a2. So that means we have x to the power of 2. Do you have here x to the power of 2? Yes. Which is x the power of 2 over 4. So that means it will be 1 over 4. So a2 is equal to 1 over 4. Now what we have here also, a2 minus 1, so that means it will be a1. Do we have here x only without a number of, it's not a squared number, it's not a cube number, it doesn't have a number? Yes, we have 7 over 8 x, so x to the power of 1. So that means here a1 is equal to what? 7 over 8, right? 7 over 8. So that means we find the an. But now, what is the constant term, which is a0? a0, it will be what? A constant number, which is plus 8, because 8 doesn't have any variable. So that means it's the constant term. So that means 8 is the constant term for this example. Now, this is the answer that we can bring it from this example. And also the other examples we are going to solve it like the same way. So this was like the formula that an, which is the bigger degree, it will be 5 here, because the bigger degree in this example is 5. So the others, we don't know what will be the bigger degree. Maybe it will be 2, maybe it will be 3, 4, and others. So now let's go for example number 2 to see how can we solve it. It will be the same way or we can't. Now what we have here, x to the power of 3, x to the power of 3, x to the power of 3 minus 3x to the power of 2, 3x to the power of 2 plus 11x minus 33, right? Now, here what we have, the bigger degree is what? It's 3, because x to the power of 3, x to the power of 2, and x to the power of 1. So that means an is equal to 3. An is equal to 3, right? Then, what is the coefficient of x to the power of 3? It is 1, right? 1. Okay, now we'll use the formula which is an minus 1. So that means a3 minus 1. So that means we will have a2. And of course a2, what is the coefficient of x squared? It is negative 3. So the coefficient of x squared is negative 3. Then we will use another 1 also, because a2 minus 1 is equal to a1. So that means the coefficient of x is equal to what? 11. And then what we have is the constant term, which is negative 33. Negative 33 is the constant term of this example. So this is the way how can we solve the polynomial functions. Now let's go for the terms, or before the terms there's some operations about polynomial functions. We have here addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. But let's put the division in the last step. First of all, let's first finish addition, subtraction, and multiplication, because like it's some it seems like easy way. It's in we can solve it in easy way, but in division it's like some steps you need to follow it. So before going to division, before going to the long problems, let's first finish by the 3, which is addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Now let's go for this operations of polynomial functions. Like for example here, what can we do? If we can say the theorem, of course the theorem says what? F of x plus g of x. We can write it in another way, f plus g times x, all of them, right? This is like the way how can we solve the functions, like by addition. Now we are in the addition problems. Like for example here, if we can say x to the power of 3 plus x to the power of 2 plus 4x plus 2, right? This is what? F of x. Let's say that this is f of x. Now g of x, what it can be? X to the power of 3 plus 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Okay, let's write it up here to make it clear. G of x is equal to what? X cubed plus 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Now we will use this theorem, which is f of x plus g of x, right? So that means we will add all of them together. So that means what we have here, x to the power of 3, right? Plus x to the power of 2 plus 4x plus 2. This is for what? This is for f of x. But now what we have here, we have g of x, which is f of x plus g of x. So that means here we'll make plus because we need to add them together. So for that, we'll make this f of x, this is f of x. And g of x, this it will be g of x, which is x cubed plus 2x squared plus 3x plus 1, right? Now we'll collect the x's together. Like here, what we have here, x to the power of 3. Do we have here x to the power of 3 is something? Yes, we have this one, x to the power of 3 and x to the power of 3. So that means it will be 2x to the power of 3. Now, what we have here, x to the power of 3. Now, what we have here, after we finish x to the power of 3, we have x to the power of 2. Do we have another x to the power of 2 the same thing? We have x to the power of 2. Yes, we have 2x to the power of 2. So that means x to the power of 2 plus 2x to the power of 2. It will be 3 plus 3x to the power of 2. Now we finished from x to the power of 2. What we have here, x to the power of 1. So So that means it will be directly x. We have here 4x, right? Then we have 3x. So 4x positive 4x plus 3x, it will be what? It will be 7x. So that means plus 7x. Now what we have here is a constant term, which is 2. Here we have positive 2 and positive 1. So it will be plus 3. And then we find the last, or like the final answer for this example. And this is how can we solve the addition of polynomial functions. Now the subtraction. The subtraction, you will change the sign of every number. Like for example here, I will give you an example to solve it together. Now, first of all, the term of subtraction is what? F of x minus g of x, right? Now what we will do here, we'll make f minus g, okay, the power of x. So what we will do here, first of all, let's say f of x is what? Is equal to, like for example, x to the power of 3 plus x to the power of 2 plus 2x plus 4. Okay, and g of x, what we have here in g of x is equal to 2x to the power of 3, 2x to the power of 3 minus 3x to the power of 2 plus 1x minus 2. Okay, now what we have here, we have f of x and g of x. Now what we will do, we'll subtract them, or we can put in this way. Like for example, f of x, here we'll put f of x, which is x to the power of 3 plus x to the power of 2 plus 2x plus 4, right? Now what we have here, negative g of x. So that means we'll make negative and put this function in bracket. We'll make negative, and in bracket what we have here, 2x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared plus 1x minus 2, right? Now what we'll do here, we'll not do anything for f of x because we have the negative before g of x. So that means negative here outside, directly outside of what? Of the bracket. So that means negative times every number inside the bracket. So that means negative times positive, it will be negative 2x to the power of 3. Then what we have here, negative times negative, it will be positive 3x to the power of 2. Then negative times positive is what? It will be negative 1x. Then negative times negative, it will be positive 2. Now we have this operation. Now we can put them together. Like for example, x to the power of 3 plus x to the power of 2 plus 2x plus 4, we can put it with this function of which is g of x. Like for example here, we can, let me rub it to let you like see it more clearly. What we have here, we can say x to the power of 3 plus x to the power of 2 plus 2x plus 4, right? Okay, now after we multiply each number inside the bracket by negative, what we get here, this function, right? So we'll put it as it is, 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 1x plus 2, right? Now what we will do here, we'll collect the like terms together. Like for example, x to the power of 3 and negative 2x to the power of 3, right? So we'll put it together, which is x to the power of 3, and what we have here, negative 2x to the power of 3. This is 1. Okay, now what it will be the another? What we have here, x squared, right? Then can we find here for x squared? Yes, we have positive 3x squared. So that means plus x squared plus what? 3x squared. also another. After we finish from x to the power 3 and x to the power 2, what we have x and the constant number itself. So x, what we have here, positive 2x, and here we have negative 1x. So it will be positive 2x minus 1x. Now the constant number, what we have here, positive 4, and we have positive 2. So it will be 4 plus 2. Alright? Now, what we will do here, x to the power 3 minus 2x to the power 3 is equal to what? Is equal to negative 1x to the power 3, or we can say only directly negative x to the power of 3. Then plus, what we have here, 3x squared plus 3x squared is equal to what? It will be 4x squared, because 1 plus 3 to be 4, 4x squared. Then what we have here, 2x squared minus 1x, it will be what? It will be x only, which is 1x. Then what we have here, positive, also 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. So this is the final answer. This is the final answer for this example that about subtraction polynomial functions. Now let's go for multiplication and division polynomial functions. Now let's continue by some examples about multiplication and division theorem. First of all, by multiplication, what we have here, f of x is equal to what? X squared minus x minus 6, and g of x is equal to x plus 2. So that means in multiplication theorem, it will be f of x times g of x, or we can say also f of x dot g of x. We can also write f dot g in bracket and in another bracket x. So in this way we can write for multiplication theorem. Now what we have here, we have f of x already and we have g of x. Now let's multiply them together. What we will do now, it will be x squared minus x minus 6, all of them are in bracket, which is f of x, right? Times what we have here, x plus 2. So in another bracket, x plus 2, which is times. Now, what we will do now, it will be multiply each number by the another. Like for example here, we can multiply x by negative 6, x by negative x, x by x squared, right? And also we can multiply 2 by negative 6, 2 by negative x, and 2 by x squared, right? So here to be what? X, or we can also reverse it. Like for example, it will be the same if you make x squared times the another side. Like for example here, x squared times x squared times 2, right? And then negative x times x and negative x times 2. And also another one, negative x times x, and I mean negative 6 times x and negative 6 times 2. We can also do this way. In the both ways, either this answer or this answer, it will be the same. So x squared times x, it will be x cubed, right? X cubed. Then what we have here, negative x times x, it will be negative x squared. Then what we have here also, now before doing it, x squared here times 2 also, before going to the another number. Like for example, x squared times x to be x cubed, right? And then x squared times 2, it will be plus 2x squared. Then what we have here, negative x times x, it will be negative x squared. Then negative x times positive 2, it will be negative 2x. Then what we have here, negative 6, right? Negative 6 times x, it will be negative 6x. Then negative 6 times positive 2, it will be negative 12. Now we'll collect the like terms together. Like for example here, we have x cubed as it is alone. There is no like term, so it will be x cubed as it is. Then what we have here, positive 2x squared, negative 2 negative x squared, right? So that means 2x squared minus 1 x squared. So it will be 1 x squared only. So plus x squared. Then what we have here, negative 2x, negative 6x. So here we have the same sign but different numbers. So the same sign, it will be the answer to be by the same sign, but we will add the numbers. Like for example here, 2x plus 6x is equal to what? Is equal to 8x, right? Now what we have here, negative 12. So the final answer for this function, it will be x cubed plus x squared minus 8x minus 12. And this is the final answer and the correct answer for question number 1. And it was an example about what? Multiplication theorem about polynomial functions. Now let's go for division. The same function but in the division theorem. Like for example now, what we will do, it will be f of x divided by g of x. So let's do it together here. What we will do here, it will be what? F of x is equal to the same thing, x squared minus x minus 6, and g of x is equal to what? X plus 2. But at this function, we are going to divide them, not to multiply them. So here, x squared minus x minus 6 divided by x plus 2. The same thing. So now what we will do, the same like the division, normal division. Like for example, 4 divided by 2 is equal to what? We'll make 4 inside and 2 outside. Then here by 2, it will be by 4. Right? The same thing, it will be here. But in place of pi, you can put division. Right? To divide them normal. So here what we'll do here, we will put this number, this function inside, because it's divided by this function, right, which is x plus 2. So that means x plus 2, it will be outside, and x is the power of 2, x squared minus x minus 6 to be inside. So that means x squared minus x minus 6, which is f of x is equal to what? They are the dividend, but the divisor is x plus 2. So we need to find the quotient and we need to find what? The remainder, these two. So that means we'll put the divisor outside, x plus 2, and the dividend inside. Okay, now what we will do here, how can we divide? How can we bring the answer, the quotient and the remainder for this division? First of all, what we have here, they are arranged, right? They are arranged descendingly. Like for example, from x squared, the x to the power of 2, then x to the power of 1, then what? The constant number. So that means they are arranged by a descending number, okay? In a descending order. Now, we will take the first one in this function, which is x squared, right? X squared will divide it by x plus 2. Like for example here, take it easy. I will make so many examples for you to know, or like to be familiar with these functions. Like for example here, what we have, x squared and x plus 2, right? Now what we will do here, x squared over x plus 2, right? Now what we have here, x squared over x plus 2. Can we cut them? Yes. Why? Because x squared means what? X times x, right? So x times x, we have here already x and here x, and we have down x, so that means here by 1, and here also it will be 1, only 1x. Make it more clear. To make it more clear, what we have here, x times x over x plus 2. Plus 2, ignore it. Only take x. So that means x times x, which is x squared, but I make it alone. That means x times x will give us x squared. But because we have x times x and over x, we'll cut x by x. So that means what left? X. X over over what? X plus 2, or we can say x over 2, right? Okay, now because we get x here in the above, in the numerator, what did we get? X, right? So that means we write here x up in the quotient. Now, after finding x, what we'll do here, x times x plus 2 again, to put the number that we can subtract it. Like for example here, already we get x, right? So we'll bring x here, and again x plus 2, x times x, x squared, x times 2 plus 2x, right? So that means what we write down here, it will be x squared plus 2x, right? And also you can do it by guessing. Like for example here what do we have? X plus 2, right? And we have x squared. So what is the number, or what is the variable that it can be times by x plus 2 that can give us x squared minus x? Of course it will be x. Why? Because x times x to be x squared. Okay, what about x here? We already have x. This is the position for 2. That means plus 2. X times 2, it will be what? 2x. So that means they will be like terms together. So what we'll put here, it will be x squared minus what we have here, x, right? So what we get here, x squared plus 2x. So x squared plus 2x. Now we can subtract them. Here it will be cut, but this negative, the negative which is outside, we will multiply by the sign which is inside. Like for example here the positive. Negative times positive, what? Negative, right? So here what we have, negative x and negative 2x. Negative x and negative 2x, it will be what? Negative 3x, right? So the answer here it will be 3x only, because negative and negative here it will be the same thing. 3x minus 6. Then make it dark. Now what we have here, 3x minus 6. We will take the same thing. We will take 3x and we divide it by x plus 2. The same step here. Like here 3x over x plus 2, right? We will cut x by x. Okay, so that means we find 3 only. So here it will be x plus 3. Here it will be 3. Okay, so now because we have 3 here, we'll multiply 3 by x plus 2 to find the numbers that we'll put it down here. So 3 times x, what? 3x, right? So it will be 3x. 3 times positive 2, it will be positive 6, right? Okay, now we have a negative. Cut 6 by 3x, then the negative which is outside, you will take it and multiply it by the sign which is inside, which is what? Positive. So negative times positive, what? Negative. Then negative and negative, negative 6 and negative 6, it will be what? 12. So can we also divide this number by the divisor? No. Now we came to the remainder. So that means this one, it is the remainder. X plus 3 is the quotient and x plus 2 is the divisor, and x plus 2, I mean x squared minus x minus 6 is what? Is the dividend. So this is the final answer. Now to put it in the final answer, how can we put it together? Let me write it for you here. First of all, we will take the quotient that we get. What we get here? X plus 3, right? So we'll make here x plus 3. Then what we have in the remainder? We have 12, right? We get 12. So plus 12 over what? Over the divisor. What was the divisor? X plus 2. So that means x plus 3 plus 12 over x plus 2. And this is the final answer for this example. Okay, now let's go by another example, another division theorem in question number 3, or in example number 3. What we have here, f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 7 by x plus 1. So let's do it together. It will be the same way that we solved this example. Okay, now what we will do here, what we have, f of x that is x squared plus 3x plus 7 divided by what? X plus 1, right? Okay, now the same thing, draw the division way. What we have here is the divisor x plus 1, right? X plus 1. And in the dividend, what we have, x squared plus 3x plus 7. So it is arranged, right? It is arranged in ascending order. That x is power of 2, then 3x is power of 1, then 7, which is constant. So here what we'll do, x to the power of 2 plus 3x plus 7. Now, to find the quotient and to find the number that will subtract it from, it will be by what? X squared, right? X squared divided by x plus 1. So the same thing, we will take the first number in the first number in this function. It will be x squared over x plus 1, right? The same thing, x squared is the same as x times x. So we can do here x times x over x plus 1. Ignore plus 1, ignore positive 1, and make cut x by x, and then what you left here in the numerator, you left x. So that means x here, it will be the quotient. Okay, now we will take this x and multiply by x plus 1. So what we will do here, it will be x times x plus 1. So that means x times x is equal to what? X squared. X times 1 is equal to x, right? Only x. So the same thing, if you say x squared plus x, it will be the like terms of x squared plus 3x, right? So we'll put this solution or this number in this place, like for example x squared plus x, right? And then negative in outside means cut x squared by x squared, and because we have negative outside, we'll times the sign which is inside, which is what? Positive, right? So now what we'll do here, negative times positive, what? Negative. So what we have here, positive 3 and negative 1, right? Positive 3 and negative 1. So that means we'll subtract them, because positive is negative, positive plus negative, or negative plus positive is equal to what? It will be subtraction. So 3x minus 1, it will be 3x minus 1x, it will be 2x plus 7. Now we will take the first number in this function also, 2x. Now we'll divide 2x by the divisor also, like 2x over x plus 1. Then you cut x by x. Then what's left in the numerator? 2. So you will put here positive 2. Okay? Then 2 times what we have in the divisor, x plus 1. X plus 1. Then you will times 2 times x, 2x, right? 2 times positive 1, it will be positive 2. Then negative outside, we'll cut 2x by 2x. Then this negative will multiply by this positive. So what we have here, positive 7 and negative 2. Of course, we'll subtract them. So the answer, the last answer, to be what? It will be 5. So the remainder, what we get here, it is 5. And the quotient, what we get here, it is x plus 2. And the divisor, already we have it, which is x plus 1, divisor. And this is the dividend. Now, can we put it together in the final answer? Yes. So what we get here, first of all, is the quotient x plus 2, right? So we write here x plus 2 plus, what is the remainder? 5. 5 over, what is the divisor? X plus 1. It will be x plus 1. And this also the final answer for this example. Now let's go for example 4. Now in example 2 and in example 3, we was dividing by only like two number only. Like for example x plus 1 or x plus 2 or x plus 3. But in this example, what we have here, 3 numbers. Like for example, x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2. So we have 3. Now let's do it together also. have here f of x is equal to what? 2x to the power of 5 minus x to the power of 6 plus 2x to the power of 3 plus 6, right? And then we have g of x, x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2, which is the divisor. So let's do it in the division term. What we have, x cubed minus x minus 2, right? And then what we have here, before writing inside, what we have, 2x to the power of 5 minus x to the power of 6 plus 2x to the power of 3 plus 6, right? Now we will arrange it in descending order. Like for example, here is 2x to the power of 5 greater than x to the power of 6? No, of course, because here it says x to the power of 5 and x to the power of 6, so that means x to the power of 6 is greater than x to the power of 5. So we'll put x to the power of 6 in the first. It will be what we have here, negative x to the power of 6. Negative x to the power of 6. Okay? Okay. Now what we have, the last one. After x to the power of 6, what we have, x to the power of 5. So it will be plus 2x to the power of 5. Okay? Now what's left? 2x to the power of 3 and constant. So the lesser than 2x to the power of 5 is what? 4. Then 3. So that means we will put in place of x to the power of 4, 0. Plus 0, x to the power of 4. Let's do it together here. X to the power of 4. Then plus 0x. Already we have 2x to the power of 3. So write it here. 2x to the power of 3. But because we don't have x to the power of 2 or x to the power of 1, so we'll write what? Or directly can say plus 6, or you can add 0, which is 0x to the power of 2 and 0x to the power of 1. So I'll make it directly because there is no place here, to be plus 6 directly. And then when we are dividing, I can adding 0. I can add 0. Now, here what we have, a long function, right? We have negative x to the power of 6 plus 2x to the power of 5 plus 0x to the power of 4 plus 2x to the power of 3 plus 6. Now first of all, we'll take the first number from this function, which is negative x to the power of 6, right? And we'll divide it by x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2. You will say, how? We have here two numbers which have the variable of x. That means x to the power of 3, negative x. How can you divide them? I will say you, yes, we can. We can do it because negative x to the power of 6 over x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2, right? We'll ignore negative x and negative 2. We'll ignore it, like we didn't see them. Go another way. So what's left here? Negative x to the power of 6 and x to the power of 3, right? Now here, if you divide 6 over 3 or without dividing, can you remember how can we take the number or the exponent of the denominator to put it in the exponent of the numerator? Yes, we can do it. So that means it will be negative x 6 minus 3, right? So that means it will be negative x 3. So what we have here, negative x3. So what we will do, negative x3, it will be in the quotient, negative x3. So that means negative x cubed, it can multiply x cubed minus x minus 2. Why? Because if you multiply x cubed by x cubed, what you will get? You will get negative x to the power of 6, right? Already what we have here, negative x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3 is equal to what? Negative x to the power of 6. So that means it is working. So we'll make here negative x to the power of 3 times what we have in the divisor, x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2, right? X to the power of 3 minus x minus 2. So negative x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3, it will be negative x to the power of 6, because Yes, we are multiplying the number together or the variable together, but the exponent, we are adding them only. So that means negative x to the power of 6, because 3 plus 3 is equal to what? 6. The same thing. Negative x cube times negative x, it will be what? It will be positive x to the power of 4. Then what we have here? Negative x to the power of 3 times negative 2 is equal to what? Is equal to positive 2x cube. Positive 2x cube. So we can now put this numbers or this function to subtract from this function, from the dividend. So let's put it down here. What will make? Negative x to the power of 6, okay? Negative x to the power of 6 plus x to the power of 4. But because we don't have x to the power of 5, what we'll do, we'll put here 0. We'll put in place of 2x to the power of 5 down, it will be 0. X to the power of 5, because we don't know x to the power of 5 after like multiplying 8. We know the question, but we didn't get x to the power of 5. But we get 4x to the power of 4, which is what? X to the power of 4 only. And then plus 2x to the power of 3, right? Okay, now when you subtract 8, what you will get here? First of all, because we have a negative outside, negative times negative, positive, negative times positive, negative, negative times positive, what here? Negative times positive, it will be negative, negative times positive, it will be negative. So here it will be cancelled, x to the power of 6 by x to the power of 6. And here what we have here? 2x to the power of 5, it will be as it is, because 0, if you subtract or adding 0, the same number it will be. So it will be 2x to the power of 5. And then what we have here? We have already positive 0x to the power of 4. And we have negative 1x to the power of 4. So it will be as it is, it will be what? It will be negative x to the power of 4, the same thing. And then what we have here? Positive and negative. But here, because we have positive and negative, we will cut 2x to the power of 3 by 2x to the power of 3. So we don't have, we can say plus, we can say what? Plus what? 0, x to the power of 3 plus 6. Plus 6. Now, what we will do here, we will divide also the divisor by 2x to the power of 5. So when you divide 2x to the power of 5 over x cube, which is the divisor, what it will be? Here you will bring 3 up to the exponent of the numerator. So here it will be what? 2x 5 minus 3. So it will be 2x squared. Right? We will get 2x squared. That means we will write up here plus 2x squared. So that means 2x squared, it will be times by the divisor, the number of the divisor, which is x cubed minus x minus 2, right? So what we will do here, it will be 2x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 3 minus x minus 2. Now what we will do here, 2x squared times x to the power of 3. Of course, the exponents are adding them only, but the numbers, we can times them. Like for example, 2x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 3, it will be what? It will be 2x to the power of 5, because 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So 2x to the power of 5 minus what? X times 2x squared minus negative x is equal to what? Negative 2x cubed, because 1 here plus 2, it will be 3. Then negative, what we have here, 2x squared times negative 2, it will be what? Negative 4x squared. But because we don't have x squared here, what we will do, we'll put 0. We'll put 0. Like for example here, before the constant, where is the place of x squared? After x to the power of 3, right? So here to be plus 0x to the power of 2 plus 6. Okay? Then what we'll do here, to the power of 5, as we get already, 2x to the power of 5, then 2x squared times negative x is equal to what? 2x squared times negative x, it will be, we don't have for x to the power of 4, right? So that means we'll write here 0 plus 0, x to the power of 4. Then here it will be negative 2x to the power of 3, then negative 2, here it will be 4, right? Here it will be 4x squared plus, no, we didn't get for constant numbers, so it will be as it is. Now we'll subtract them. What we have here, 2x to the power of 5 and 2x plus the negative which is outside, cut 2x to the power of 5 and 2x to the power of 5 together. Then this negative times what positive, it will be negative. This negative times negative, it will be positive. This negative times negative, it will be positive. So now, x to the power of 4, we already have 1, right? So it will be as it is, it will be 1. 1 x to the power of 4, or directly x to the power of 4 without 1. X to the power of 4. Then what we have here, we have plus and 0x to the power of 3, we have 2x to the power of 3, so it will be as it is, plus 2x to the power of 3. Then what we have here, positive and negative, right? For negative, it will be positive, because here what we have, negative times negative, positive. So positive 4x squared, it will be as it is also the same, positive 4x squared plus 6. So that means it's a circle, it will not finish until you find the remainder. Now, x to the power of 4 plus 2x to the power of 3 plus 4x squared plus 6, right? Now what we will do here, we'll take also the first number from this function and we'll divide it by x cubed minus x minus 2. So that means x to the power of 4 over x to the power of 3, when you will shift the exponent of the numerator to the exponent, the denominator for the numerator, it will be minus. So x to the power of 4 minus 3, then x is equal to 1 only, 1, or we can say x directly, which is x directly, right? Now x here, it will be plus x. Now this x will times x to the power of 3, x times negative x, and x times negative 2, right? So let's do it together here. What we will do here, x times x cubed is equal to what? X to the power of 4. So we have x to the power of 4. Okay. Now x times negative x is equal to what? Negative x squared. So we don't have 4x cubed. So here we will put 0. Then for x squared we already get negative x squared. Then x times 2, negative 2 will be what? Negative 2x. But we don't have here x, so that means we'll put 0 up. Okay, we'll put 0 plus 0x plus 6. So that means we can put x times negative 2 to be negative 2x. That means it will be here negative 2x only. Now, what we will do here, we have a negative outside. We will cut x to the power of 4 together, x to the power of 4. Then this negative, it will be times the sign which is inside. That means negative times positive, negative. Okay, negative times negative, positive. Negative times negative, also positive. So here it will be as is 2x cubed. And what we have here, positive 4x, positive x squared. So that means it will be what? For x squared this also. So it will be what here? It will be 5 plus 5x squared. And then also we have here plus 2x plus 6. Okay, we get the same thing. Now let's do it in the another side. It will be better because I want to continue it. Can you see? Yes, you can see. here what we get here, we have get 2x to the power of 3, right? 2x to the power of 3 plus 5x squared plus 2x plus 6. Now we will continue also, because we have here already x to the power of 3, right? We will take the first number in this equation, I mean in this function, which is 2x to the power of 3, right? Now, if you make 2x to the power of 3 over x to the power of 3, you cut x to the power of 3 with x to the power of 3, right? You will get x to the power of 3 times x, x to the power of 3 cut by x to the power of 3. So, what you will get here too? So, you will write there, you will write positive 2. You will write here positive 2. So, that means 2 times x to the power of 3 and 2 times negative x and 2 times negative 2, right? Now let's do it together there. Because of 2, what we will make here, 2 times x to the power of 3 is equal to what? 2x to the power of 3, right? So here it will be 2x to the power of 3. Then because of 2 times negative x, it will be negative 2x. So that means we don't have 4 squared. So we'll put 0 here for 5x squared plus, here it will be plus 0x squared. Then because of negative, it will be negative 2x, and then 2 positive 2 times negative 2 is equal to what? Negative 4, right? Negative 4. So that means when you subtract it, we have already negative outside. This negative, it will be times positive times negative and also times negative. Here it will be positive, positive, and here it will be negative. So that means cut 2x to the power of 3 by 2x to the power of 3, and then 5x squared, it will be as it is. 5x squared. Then we have 2x. Okay, we have here what? 2x and 2x already, so it will be plus 4x. Then here, because of positive, it will be plus 10. And this is the final answer, which is the remainder. Why it is the final answer? Because here what we have 5x squared, right? We have 5x squared plus 4x plus 10. Because the 5x squared, the exponent is less than the exponent which is inside the divisor, which is x cubed. So that means x cubed is greater than x squared. So that means we cannot complete the division. It will be the last answer, it will be the final answer. So that means it is the remainder. It's the remainder. Now in the final answer, how can we write it together? First of all, what we get here, the quotient, right? This is the quotient, and this is the divisor. The divisor. So what we will do here, first of all, we'll write the quotient here. Negative, can you see down here? Yes, you can see. Negative x to the power of 3 plus 2x squared plus 2x squared plus x plus what? 2, right? This is the quotient. That means is equal to the remainder over the divisor. Here is equal to what? Is equal to the remainder. What we get here? 5x squared plus 4x plus 10, right? Over what? Over the divisor, which is x cubed minus x minus 2. And this is the final answer for this function, or like we can say it's a division, it's a polynomial functions, like in the division theorem, the division theorem of polynomial functions. So this was the last example in this video. I hope that you benefit from these functions, and inshallah in the coming videos we are going to solve more questions about division, polynomial functions, and also multiplication, subtraction, and also we are going to complete remainder theorem and also factoring theorem and theories of multiplies. So this was everything for today. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Goodbye.